The Comanche plains were quiet that dusk, eerily quiet, like the wind itself held its breath over the sprawling shadow of the canyon, where a Comanche leader lay bleeding into the thirsty earth, abandoned after a brutal ambush that left his warriors scattered, and his enemies sure he would never rise again. Arrows pierced his side and thigh, and each breath rattled like a dying drumbeat in the hollow of his chest. But pride forced his eyes open long enough to stare at a setting sun smeared red across the horizon, as if the painted sky mourned him. Buzzards circled overhead, smug and silent, waiting for night to grant permission. Coyotes paced in the brush, sniffing at the iron scent of his blood, their eyes catching glints of dying light. Pain buckled his ribs. Memories flickered like sparks, the war dances, the laughter of children at the spring river, the way thunder echoed across the plains during summer hunt. He wanted one more sunrise, just one. But fate, cruel and strange, had written a different line in this moment. Crawling footsteps echoed down the rocky slope above, too soft to be predator, too hesitant to be hunter. A tiny silhouette emerged, clutching a worn blanket and a clay jar of water. She had climbed the treacherous canyon ledge alone, driven by something no warrior could fully name. Courage deeper than fear, instincts stronger than caution. She knelt beside the dying leader, hands trembling, eyes wide with terror at the sight of so much blood, but she did not run. Her small fingers worked to snap arrow shafts, break them clean, and pour water across the wounds. Whispering soft words, not prayers but promises. The leader tried to protest, voice shredded by pain, but she pressed her hand gently against his chest, commanding silence without a single spoken word. Night crept in like smoke. Stars scattered across the black sky, watching as the little rescuer pulled at his limbs, dragging him inch by agonizing inch toward a hidden crevice tucked between boulders. There, sheltered from predators and moonlit threats, she dressed his wounds with strips torn from her shawl. Days bled into nights. She returned again and again, climbing that canyon with food, herbs stolen from her mother's satchel, and water heavy enough to bend her spine with weight. Yet she never faltered. Slowly, breath by breath, strength returned to the leader's body. With it came memories sharper than blades. The betrayal, the ambush, the rival tribe that coveted his lands, and the gunfire that cracked the sky that fateful afternoon. Rage tried to rise in his chest, but every time he opened his eyes, he found her watching quietly, eyes calm like the morning river, and rage found no place to settle. Healing was not only of flesh, but spirit. One night, flames sputtered weakly in a hidden fire pit the girl built, casting dancing shadows on canyon walls. She hummed a soft lullaby, one she likely heard from her own kin. But the leader recognized the melody, an ancient Comanche tune few still remembered. He frowned, confused, but she only smiled faintly. The world was changing fast, the frontier twisting with new laws, railroads, and settlers that carved fences through buffalo lands. But here, between stones, the old ways breathed again. As strength returned fully, he stood, leaning on a crude spear she crafted. He gazed down at the canyon, remembering how close death had come. The girl tugged his sleeve, urging him to follow, and together they climbed, her leading, his footsteps steadying. When they reached the rim, dawn exploded in golden fire across the plains, painting the grasses and distant hills with warmth. Warriors waited there, his tribe, eyes widening in disbelief. News of his death had already begun to spread. Morning songs whispered in camp, but now they saw him standing tall, healed, alive, reborn. The girl stepped back, hiding behind a stone, watching. The tribe bowed heads, honoring both leader and miracle. And when he turned to thank her, she was already slipping away, darting down a trail like a shy deer returning to forest shade. He did not call after her. Names were sacred, and her gift was beyond words. That day he ordered no vengeance, no blood hunt. Instead, he decreed that mercy would guide their dealings, that the tribes would speak before arrows flew. And for many years, peace settled like soft snowfall. Legends whispered around campfires spoke not of battles won, but of a small figure climbing canyon walls while warriors slept. And now, as you watch this tale unfold, imagine how many lives changed because one brave heart moved when everyone else froze. Courage can come from places no one expects, and compassion can shape nations. If this story touched you, if bravery like hers deserves more voices across campfires and screens, then don't let this be the last ride. Hit subscribe, saddle up with our growing tribe, and join us for more frontier legends each week. Every click keeps these stories alive. Every share keeps courage riding strong across the winds of history. and your support lights the fire that keeps our channel burning bright. Subscribe now because the West still has secrets to tell and you don't want to miss the next one. Weeks passed, and the Comanche leader rode the plains again, though every gallop reminded him how close death's breath had been, and every sunrise tasted sweeter than the last. His warriors noticed something different in him. Less steel in his stare when disputes arose, more patience in words spoken around council fires. Even settlers at the edges of buffalo country sensed a strange peace settling across the territory, though they whispered nervously, expecting war to return any day. One quiet evening, while returning from a scouting ride, he saw movement along a canyon ridge, the familiar small silhouette scrambling over stone. She had returned, though not for him. She knelt beside an injured foal trapped between brush and roots, whispering gentle sounds as she worked the tangled mess loose, her hands steady as if guided by ancestors. He watched from the shadows, feeling his heart tighten with something like gratitude mixed with wonder. When the foal finally stumbled free, she smiled, and the animal nuzzled her before bounding toward open grassland. She turned then, seeing him only as a reflection of firelit sky behind her, froze for a heartbeat, then lowered her eyes respectfully. He stepped forward, offering a carved pendant made from buffalo horn, inscribed with a symbol meaning "Watcher of Life." She hesitated, then accepted, bowing slightly. Without a word, she slipped away once more. That night, the leader told his council that mercy strengthens warriors more than fear ever could. They listened, changed, and for the first time, considered a world shaped by small kindnesses. Stories spread across camps and settler towns about the miracle girl on the cliffs, though none knew her name or home. Some claimed she was spirit-born, others swore they'd seen her footprints vanish like smoke. And as travelers gathered around hearths to whisper her legend, remember this: courage travels quietly, but its echo can shake mountains. If these tales stir your heart, ride with us. Subscribe so the flame of frontier honor never fades, and the next story finds you before the wind steals it away.